Hugh Taylor's tips, are they any use? Or is it all just smoke and mirrors? So in this week's upload, you're about to find out, because following a previous upload about betting tipsters and how they operate, several of you guys in the comments said that I was actually wrong when it comes to Hugh Taylor's tips. So here's my reaction along with my findings on screen. What we're about to reveal in this upload may shock some of you. Now before I do, I just want to say I've got nothing against Hugh Taylor. This is not personal. I'm sure he knows his horses, all that kind of good stuff. It's just the fact that he happened to be on a trusted source such as At The Races providing these tips, and there is an existing problem as highlighted in the previous upload. So for anyone that isn't aware, Hugh Taylor is a well-known horse racing tipster featured on a TV channel, At The Races, their website, various other places on the internet. So the process goes like this. So around about 5 minutes before the Hugh Taylor tip appears online, Hugh will make a tweet on his own personal Twitter account. He'll say there's going to be a selection within the next 5 minutes. All very fair enough. There'll be a link in that tweet which you'll click take you through to his tipping page, which is stuffed and surrounded with affiliate links for At The Races. In the centre you'll have, once it appears, Hugh's selection. Now you need to hit refresh on the page consistently to get the selection as soon as it comes up. When it does come up, you'll have the name, you'll have where it's at, and you'll have the advised prices below the selection. This is a very important part because if the tip goes on to win, the highest price that is shown in the advised selection below the tip is what's going to be recorded on Hugh's selection of results on At The Races website. That selection of results is then kept as proof underneath his tipping page for anybody else who views the tips in the future to see that he is actually profitable as a tipster. Now this is where the problems start. So over the last week I've recorded 6 days back to back all of the tips that Hugh's released, and I've sat there refreshing the page as they come out so I can get to the bookmakers' prices within seconds and also check those prices on the exchanges. I'll show you the results and prices for all of those selections in just a moment. But first, for anyone that doesn't understand, this is the real problem when we go a little bit deeper. So take, for example, Hugh Taylor puts out a tip for 9 Elms on the 31st of August. He does so in the morning, round about 9:10. He suggests that you should back 9 Elms at a price of 25 to 1. So you go straight for the notification on your phone to say there's been a tip, you tap through to the bookmaker, you go to their prices, and the price is nowhere near 25 to 1. So the next thing you think is, well, maybe it was available elsewhere, I'll just double check on the exchanges. And again, you look at the prices for 9 Elms and the price was never anywhere near 25 to 1, unless you backed it for £1 the night before. So the question here is, when 9 Elms went on to win that particular horse race, should the tip have been recorded at a price of 25 to 1 or 17 to 2, which is of course 8.5 to 1. There's a big difference in that price in there. By the way, at this point I feel like I should mention At The Races received the affiliate revenue for signing you up and getting you to place a bet, as I mentioned in the previous upload last week. Because of course they're the ones that proof these tips over a longer period of time. Now of course if you can't get the price on one of these tips throughout the month, then it's obviously a write-off for the whole month because the results are not going to be accurate. However, it could have been a one-off in this instance, so I thought it's important that I record all of the tips for the last 6 days, and this is what I found. Okay, so starting on day 1, Hugh tips the 250 at Yarmouth and the 520 at Goodwood. Greek Oasis at 25 to 1 and Lunar Magic at 3 to 1. I couldn't get either of those prices. However, you could see at the time of release the prices on the Betfair exchange were 16.5 for Greek Oasis and 3.5 on Betfair. Remember that 3.5 is actually 5 to 2 because you've got to take 1 off of the decimal odds, and the 16.5 is actually 15.5 to 1 instead of 25 to 1. So day 2, Hugh tipped 210 at Southwell and 350 at Southwell. 9 Elms at 25 to 1, already previously mentioned, was available at 14.5, which is 13.5 to 1. Sapphire Jubilee, he tips at 14 to 1, was available at 10.5, which is 9.5 to 1. Couldn't get either of those on the bookmakers either. Day 3, 3.15 at Kempton and 2.30 at Ripon. I couldn't get either of these prices. True Belief was close. It was tipped at 5 to 1, and I think possibly it had been 5 to 1 shortly before with the bookmakers, but I couldn't get it. Betfair Exchange, it was available at 4.9. Absolute Dream was tipped at 9 to 2 and could get 4.9 also on Betfair Exchange. Day 4, 5 o'clock at Wolverhampton, 5:15 at Lingfield, Castle Quarter and Lippy Lady. Again, I couldn't get either of these prices with the bookmakers. They were long gone. Castle Quarter was tipped at 14-1, was available at 10.0 on Betfair Exchange. Lippy Lady was 17-2, was the advised price, and was available at 7.8. So that's obviously 6.8 to 1, which is a massive difference. Day 5. Now, one of these tips on day 5, you could have got the price. I'm confident I could have got the price for. So there's 3.40 at Salisbury. Bimble, 9-2 was the advised price. Available at 4.7 on the exchange. Couldn't get it with the bookies. 3.35 at Newcastle. Lord Tarangananga was advised at 16-1. There wasn't money traded above 12.0 on the Betfair Exchange shortly before the tip was released, but with one bookmaker, with Ladbrokes, you could have got 16-1 on that one. 3.10 at Salisbury, alcohol free, was advised at 13-2. Again, couldn't get the price. It was 7.2 on the exchange and shortly before. Day 6, this morning, 1.55 at Ascot. I think this one was criminal, to be honest with you. I know it's a favourite. The 1.55 at Ascot, Twilight Calls was advised at 13-8. I got through to the bookmakers' pages within 5-6 seconds after this one going up. I refreshed it, it was there, I was straight on the bookies, I had separate tabs open straight away, and it was not available at 13-8. I think the best that I could find was possibly 6-4, and on Betfair's Exchange it was available at 2.32. Haydock 4.55. Tranchi was advised at 13-2, and again couldn't get the price. So out of all of those, it was 6.4 on Betfair Exchange at the time of release as well. So all of those tips there was only one that I'm absolutely confident that you could have got the price for. The rest, and I tried really hard, I sat there refreshing, had separate tabs open, flicking through. I think maybe, what was the other one? True Belief, possibly, I think it was. You could have possibly got that if you had the browser open, and I might have been a little bit slower to that one. But the rest, not available. So if you've learned something new in this video, it's been helpful, please don't forget to give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel. To conclude, you're just not going to get the prices on these tips, which is what it's all about. The only way I can see you actually getting these prices is if you know Hugh and he tells you the tips before he puts them up, you work for At The Races and you've got that information again before it's in the public domain, or you backed it earlier on in the morning or the night before. Most of the time, a lot of these prices that were quoted are available the night before, but that's no use when the tip's released at like between 9 and 10 in the morning. This also adds to the fire with, it's a further problem. So a lot of those there, technically, they weren't available at them prices on Betfair Exchange. If they were available on the bookmakers, which I don't believe a lot of them were, at them prices, they were actually ARBs. So, you know, tipsters usually say, oh, you know, you can't back an ARB, but they are ARBs, so that makes no sense. And of course, as we know from other videos on this channel, as from pretty much all bookmaker accounts that I've tried and videos I've made previously, if you do win, you get banned. So is the bookmaker really paying At The Races and tipsters to show people value when they ban people that take value? It makes no sense whatsoever. So the last thing just to say, a lot of people said previously in those comments which encouraged me to create this video was that, oh, At The Races keeps a full record of Hugh's tips in the past. Yes, they do, at prices you couldn't have got a lot of the time. So, you know, you can argue either way. If it was available for 30 seconds, 90% of people were definitely not going to get them anyway. The false record actually just encourages people to carry on betting on Hugh's selections at poor prices, which favours the bookmakers because they make money and then they pay At The Races. Again, nothing personal on Hugh. But hopefully that's been a useful video to some people, open their eyes up to what's actually going on. If you haven't seen the original video about betting tipsters and how the whole model operates, then check out this video in the end screen here.